fellow Planeswalkers. I'm James.
Hi, I'm Corey.
And you're listening to the newest episode of the Commander-at-Arms podcast. This week on the podcast, we're going to break down the multicolored commanders from Innistrad Midnight Hunt, which I know has already come out, and we're a little bit late with this episode, but this is the only time we've been able to actually talk about them right now, and because you've got your hands on them, we're going to go through and just talk about the cards, how we feel about them, rate them ourselves, and see if we're excited to play them or not. And this week we have got Corey on the show again, because unfortunately Paul was not available. He's still settling into his new work schedule. So yeah, we've got Corey from the Commander crew. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Corey.
Hello, you guys are stuck with my sultry voice for one more week at least. So sorry about that. But also, thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. Anytime. Thank you for coming in and jumping in at the drop of a hat. I know I messaged you last minute about it. I was like, hey man, do me a solid, come and hang out again for another episode. So that's what we're doing now. Let's pass through to our upkeep, where I'm going to go through and I'm going to thank all the patrons for your love and support. Your support and patronship actually keeps the lights on here in the studio, which may or may not just be my closet. But you know, we do what we do when we can. So yeah, you guys help me keep the lights on here, keep my internet bill paid and my electricity bill paid. So thank you very much. If you want to go and support our show directly, you can do that at patreon.com/commanderatarms. We get, you know, there's 3 different tiers in there. Go and check it out. We also have mail day and interesting finds here in our little upkeep trigger. Corey, have you found anything interesting in your collection, or have you bought anything from Midnight Hunt yet?
Yeah, I got a set booster box last Friday, I think it was, something like that. I mean, nothing insanely. Actually, that's a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. I got a extended art foil Ren and 7 out of my box.
Don't be coming on here and just like lying to my viewers and my listeners.
Straight up lied to everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I got a extended art. Here it is, extended art Ren and 7. Which I've been debating on what to do with it, because I don't really have a Lands Matters deck. Excuse me. I think what I'm going to do, and your folks are going to hear it here first, I'm going to do a giveaway on this sometime next week. So I'm just going to give it away because I have no use for it, and I know a lot of people want it. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be what we do.
That's an exclusive. We get to hear it here first, folks.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to ask for the details on how to enter that giveaway.
Yeah, I don't even know them yet.
I mean, that's totally fair. But definitely go and check them out on Twitter and like them. And how can they find you on Twitter?
Commandercrew.com. Oh, excuse me. That's a completely different thing. Twitter.com/commandercrew. No, that for some reason they would not let me do. So just twitter.com/commandercrew.
Go and check them out. Go and give them a follow. I'm sure you'll put a tweet out on how to win that extended art foil Ren and 7. If I don't go and try and win it myself.
That's true. I still actually have to send you that Chatterfang I have. So don't let me forget tonight.
Yes.
I need to mail that out to you. So
that's all right. That's
remind me later.
Worries. I will remind you after we finish recording this episode. A little bit of housekeeping here that people get to kind of insight. All right, cool. So that's mail it and interesting finds. I haven't found anything interesting in my collection, or have I bought anything? Actually, that's also a lie. Here I am lying to people. As you would have seen on Twitter or on Instagram, if you follow us there, if you don't, please go and check us out. We are at CMDR at Arms on both Instagram and Twitter. My best friends from Australia, Michael and Barry, actually went splitsies in an old Gnawbone for me for my birthday. And it is the coolest thing that I have received for a birthday present in quite some time. No flame to anybody out there who thought that I may have gotten something from you guys. But anyway, yeah, man, they surprised. My mate was just like, Michael was like, all right, you know, like that old Gnawbone looks really good on your hands. I was like, yeah, man, it's such a cool card. I'll get it sent out. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just, it's yours. He was like, you know, we support everything you're doing. We're supporting, you know, they're supporting the fact that I do this podcast, and, you know, it's kind of helping income situations and everything. And he was like, you know, I wanted to give you something that, you know, you're going to use every day. And that was the old Gnawbone, and he said it was from him and Barry, and I want to thank you guys on here. I mean, it means the world to me that you support me, and everyone else who patrons to us as well. And I love this card. I have loved this card since we did the set review. It's the helm of one of my decks that you guys have seen on YouTube. If you haven't, go check out that deck tech. It's Old Gnawbone deck tech on YouTube. I play this deck quite consistently, and it slotted straight into my Gearad deck as well. I took out another big old 7/7 Commander staple in Avenger of Zendikar. I took that out and put in Old Gnawbone instead. So yeah, thanks guys for that. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm gonna use it to beat them one day. I'll be like, you did this to me. You gave me this power.
You did this to yourself.
And speaking of the YouTube channel, go and check out our newest video, which is Marisol the Pretender. I know it's the same video as last week, but I just haven't had a time in my schedule yet to record a new video for you guys, and I do apologize for that quite profusely. I'm gonna try and get one out very soon. I have a really cool deck to show off to the world that I built. I need a little bit of fine tuning before I'm ready to give it out to the world, but stay tuned for that one. If you want to check it out, go and check out Commander at Arms on YouTube. That's where you'll find Mirrorsteel. You'll find that Old Gnawbone deck list. We do unboxings and everything else there as well. And now we have our play of the week. Corey, did you have a play of the week, or maybe just an interesting story about a game you have played?
I mean, I wouldn't call it. I don't think it's interesting. It was I played a very grindy game last night with my good friends Donnie and Jen, and a new friend Lua Stardust, and I made the mistake of playing a deck that Donnie and Jen helped me build, and it is Yarok the Scorched Trash. Yurlok the Scorched Trash, not Yarok. That's a different person. Yurlok the Scorched Trash. I call it the Trash Man deck. It's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference. If you know what you're into there. But anyway,
don't forget to pay the troll toll.
The troll toll. What I do is I grab trash and I throw it around the ring. Anyway,
you thought you could slip that reference past me, but you can't slip it past me.
We're both just like trying to slip references. Like you tried to slip what is it? Bonesaw reference by me. Anyway,
I did.
So anyway, yeah, they knew that this deck, my Yurlok deck, is all about giving people like excess mana and then burning them out with it because it brings back mana burn as one of its abilities. A player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life. So it's basically mana burn. And they just came in with like crazy life gain decks. And poor Donnie died super quick in that game. It was like a 2.5, 3 hour game, and Donnie died like an hour into it. And then Lua and Jen just kept gaining life. And every time I try to burn them out with mana burn, they would just gain all the life right back. So it was just such a grindy, like, one of those games where you like, by the end of it, you're like, did I have a stroke? Like how long did this go for? Like, why is it so late?
Yeah, I've definitely had those games where like, because I set up the studio in the closet, which is where I was also set up to play Magic. It's the same desk, it's the same place, and I would come out and be like, "What year is it?" Yeah, like I've just played like 5 hours worth of Magic, and it's like, "What time is it? What time zone am I in?
Yeah.
What year is it? Is it still January?" Which it hasn't been January for 9 months now, James. Jeez,
exactly. That's when you started the game. Was in January. It's now September, buddy. Like, welcome to the world.
Oh man. Yeah, right? It's like the whole thing happened. I'm still here playing, Graves Matters Muldrothor.
Yeah.
Which I love that deck. Anyway, yeah, and that kind of got into some conversation about like one particular card that I think you and I both had a really good experience with. And when I say good, I mean like it's one of those cards that just kind of like troubles the stack, and that was it Exquisite Blood?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've gotten to that point yet in your story, and I'm sorry that I jumped in there.
No, it's fine.
So we were talking about Exquisite Blood in the pre-show chats that we usually have, kind of breaking down how we're going to run through the episode. And Exquisite Blood came up a lot this weekend for me as well. For my play of the week, again, not so much as a play as an experience, I got to go out to Windows Comics and Collections in Claremont, which is close to where I live. It's not my local store, but it's close enough that I could still go there comfortably. I was invited out there by my other mate, Corey, to play Magic with him and his mate from the military, and he had a really interesting Erebos mono black deck that was artifact based. So It's the only deck he owns, and every card that could be Masterworks was a Masterworks, and my jaw hit the table as soon as he was like, here's my Masterworks Painted Servant, and my Masterworks Grindstone, and my Masterworks Soul Ring, and like Mana Crypt and Mana Vault, and I'm like, oh my god, and my Gauntlet of Power that's also a Masterworks, and I'm like, holy damn, man, like, you dropped some serious G's on this deck, and like, I'd be keeping that thing close to heart, but those cards are beautiful.
Just like playing it in top loaders. Just trying to shuffle top loaders together.
Nah, he was just like flicking around like they were nothing. Like they were 25-cent commons. And I'm like, bro, that Mana Crypt's like $900 and it just gets flicked across the table. I mean, it wasn't that bad. But I mean, yeah, you know, he was like, here you go. He was like, hold my deck, touch my deck, play with it. Like, here, look at it. You can totally like just look at every card. I was like, I feel like I don't feel like I'm insured to touch this. So I just like put it on the table and picked up one card at a time and put it down. But anyway, yeah, it was really fun. Exquisite Blood got to do Exquisite Blood things there.
Yep.
And then earlier on in the week, I got to play my partner's Mardu deck, which is Vile Smasher and Timna the Weaver. And Exquisite Blood stayed on the field for a lot longer than what it should have. And it did some pretty disgusting stuff and got me into a Bolas' Citadel to where I could just storm off and win the game, which was kind of interesting. I mean, 9 times out of 10 when I Bolas' Citadel, I whiff. It's always just a land on top, and I have to figure out how to get the land off the top so that I can get further through the deck. But enough about all of that. Let's move through to our main phase 1 here, and this is where we're going to start slinging our own spells and playing our lands, unless you're one of those players who plays lands in the main phase 2, which I always saw as more of like a competitive move.
Yeah, it's like standard players do. Standard and like, yeah, competitive players do that.
Yeah, they always hold it. They always like just, untap, upkeep, draw, go to combat. And I'm like, well, you've got a whole main phase to work with, bro. But they're like, combat. Want to hold up my mana for combat tricks, just in case. Psych my opponent out. And then do everything else in main phase 2. But we're going to go through our main phase 1. And we're going to start talking about the legendary commanders, which I guess all commanders are legendary, James. Way to, know your... way to know your format, dude. We're going to go through the multicolored commanders from Midnight Hunt. So I guess Innistrad Midnight Hunt. And the first one we're going to start off here is with Sigarda, Champion of Light. She is a Selesnya commander. So it's 1 green and 2 white for a 4/4 legendary creature angel with Frample. So that is flying and trample. Humans you control get +1/+1 and a new little, I guess that's a keyword, it's Coven. So whenever Sigarda attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a human creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not too hyped on this one?
I mean, I don't like Selesnya in general. Like, I'm pretty biased here. Like, Selesnya decks do the same thing to me over and over again. Like, you're either going wide with tokens or a specific creature type, or you're gaining life. So, like, this is a great, if you want to have a humans deck that has green, I guess this is pretty good. But I feel like one of the older Sigardas, is probably better than this. Like, I don't know.
I don't disagree with you on that one. I still like this card, but I think you're very right with the way that, like, Selesnya just does Selesnya things, and it's the same as, like, Simic doing Simic things, which I guess you can't really say with some of the new Selesnya, Simic commanders we've gotten so far, like, lately, like, Volo does very different things to what Simic usually does. But, I mean, I don't know if I'd play this card or not. I know I was talking to Paul, and he was like, humans is pretty good. And I was like, yeah, but wouldn't you just slot this into maybe a different commander we might come up to later? We will get to later, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, Sigarda's a little how you going, I think. I'm not overly excited to play her as a commander. I can't even think of anything really to do with her. She doesn't really gain life or anything. I mean, she's an anthem on a creature. She's flying 4/4. She's flying trample. She's got some decent evasion. I mean, if you can think of anything else to do with her, let us know at CMDR@arms. Go and tweet at us. I think the whole idea of putting, different amounts of powers on the battlefield could be an interesting and cool kind of like side game or mini game to play with this commander.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She's an angel. She cares about humans. They kind of go hand in hand in white.
This is basically just like if you want to make mono white humans and splash green.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, the Coven ability is cool, like being able to filter the top of your deck for some humans.
That's something that we kind of more need in those colors anyways, like more top deck, like not so much manipulation, but like
do you though?
Ways to get into other stuff. I don't know, maybe.
In green, I mean, you got like Collected Company, you got, Penance. There's a ton of things in white and green that like can filter your top deck. I don't know.
I mean, don't say Sylvan Library, because I mean that's one hell of a card.
Yeah, Sylvan Library, exactly. Like there's plenty of ways in green and white to do that. So I don't know. I feel
fair.
like if you want to play humans, and I hate to say this because I know it pisses a lot of people off. And sorry, I should ask before. Like, can I say I can swear, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, this is gonna piss a lot of people off. But like, if you want to play humans, I'm sorry, play Rick. Rick is the best.
Well, that was one thing that
humans
that
commander
Paul mentioned.
out there.
Yeah, he was like, Rick just goes in this deck because Rick is good, and I understand that's going to annoy a lot of people. And again, that Rick sits in the talk to your playgroup, talk to your meta, talk to your pods, have those rule zero conversations like we talked about last week and every other week until everybody understands that rule zero talks are the most important part of playing Commander.
Yeah.
Because you need to know that you're on the same level as everyone else.
And that's definitely, Rick is definitely a card that, or like just the Walking Dead cards in general are, I mean, I could talk to you for hours about the Walking Dead cards, but that's one of those divisive things that like you either love them and you don't care, or you're like dead fast set against them that, just the word Rick triggers your like internal, frustration. So, but unfortunately,
I don't have that issue with Rick at all.
Oh yeah, clearly I don't, but like, I'm sorry, I hate to say it. If you want to play a mono white humans deck, there's a ton of great commanders for you, but Rick is, I think, the best. That's just me. That's just a hot take over here. I'm just a guy playing a game who loves Walking Dead.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I love The Walking Dead, and we did a whole episode on The Walking Dead, which you guys can go check out if you want our full breakdown discussion on that commander and those cards. If not, let's move on now.
Let's move on.
What's our next commander there, Corey?
If I'm going down the list correctly, I believe it's Florian, right?
Yep.
All right, Florian Voldaren Scion. He is 1 black-red for a legendary creature, Vampire Noble. He's a 3/3, and he has First Strike. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total amount of life your opponents lost this turn. Exile one of those cards and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exiled card this turn. I wouldn't have blamed you if you tuned out during that short reading. But so this is cool, I guess, but I feel like he's just going to slot better in Edgar than being a commander himself, right?
Yeah, I think any like aristocrat style deck that are in Rakdos wants this commander. I mean, I'd even say like this would go in it's Prosper Tomebound.
Yep.
Because I mean, this just lets you, if you can play exiled cards, you can just you can get treasures off it as well. Obviously, you have to be in like a little bit of like dealing damage to your opponents, but that's super easy in Rakdos colors. Like, I'm not an expert in Rakdos. I don't play a lot of Rakdos myself, but I know there's a lot of proficient Rakdos players out there who will have like really good ways of making this do its thing. And I mean, its amount of life lost this turn. I mean, if you wanted to put this into God, it's the Rakdos God, the group slug one that I cannot think of its name right now. Everyone's going to scream at me, and I know they're going to scream at me because they've done it before. And when I cannot remember a card's name. Oh my God. Please don't yell at me. But you all know what I'm talking about, right? You, at the beginning of your upkeep, you either sack a creature or you take 2 damage.
Oh, oh, shit. Crap, now I can't think of it. I can see him. I can see his dumb face. He's the Minotaur. He's the Minotaur. I've never had this much of a blank on the show before. Usually, I'm pretty good with this. I gotcha. I'm using my phone. I'm not using my mechanical clickety claggety. Rakdos God MTG. You were looking at Mogis or Magis, God of Slaughter.
Mogis. God, I kept thinking Morog because that was the red card that just. Oh yes, so Rakdos, not Rakdos, James. So Mogus, I think this would go really good in Mogus. As a commander, I'm not, again, like I don't play a lot of Rakdos, so maybe this is cool. I do like that they're kind of going into that, do something, you can exile the top cards from your library and you can play them later. They've done it with the D&D precons with Prosper Tomebound. They've done it with this card. I hope
Deans from the red and blue Dean from Strixhaven.
Yes, definitely. But I hope this is the direction that they kind of take most of the not most of the Rakdos commanders, but like a lot of Rakdos commanders, because this is a really cool, fun concept that you could basically play all of these in the same deck. As long as you're doing like what the thing requires you to do, which I mean, Prosper just requires you to pass the turn and go to end step and exile a card. This requires you to make your opponents lose life, and there are easy ways of doing that outside of combat. I mean, you've got drainers, you've got any kind of aristocrat style play. So I mean, yeah, you'd be pretty good, and I like this card. I'd probably do like a budget commander deck around him. Again, just I love aristocrats. I adore aristocrat style play. That is my go-to. I don't know if you've noticed, but how many times I've played Taser on your stream?
Yep, a lot. Quite a bit.
I love it. It's my pet deck. It's my pet strategy. Anytime I can do it, I will do it. But I have nothing else to talk about, Florin. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this slots in like Edgar really well if you just want like an interesting vampire. I do agree. I didn't really think about Prosper. I think this would go great in Prosper, especially if you tuned it the right way. I think this is going to be really good in like you said, like a proficient Rakdos player who does, especially Rakdos, not the showstopper, but like the original Rakdos, where he costs less based on the amount of damage done to opponents.
I believe that's Rakdos Lord of Riots.
Lord of Riots, correct. Yeah. So if you have a deck that like is really good at doing a lot of small indirect damage to opponents, I think he'd go really good in that. It's not on the top of my list. I'm similar to you. I'm not a big Rakdos player. I enjoy black red in combination with a third color. Or a fourth color, something like that. But yeah, it's, on a scale of like 1 to 10 for me, this is on the lower end. This is like a 5. This is 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah, that's about where it is for me. And again, like any other Rakdos player who like sees this card and goes, "Oh my god," throw us your deck lists. I want to have a look at it. I want to see the direction you guys pull that commander. But if you've got nothing else, I'm going to move on to the next one here.
Let's do it.
We have an Azorius Commander that I was pretty interested to see. It's got a brand new mechanic on it that's coming out in Astral. Well, I guess not coming out. It's out now. I mean, like, well, not out now, but pre-release happened, so people have these cards. So
I have this one in my hand right now. I'm holding it.
I haven't opened any Midnight Hunt yet. I haven't had the opportunity to. But we have Denik. Is it Denik? Poyas? Yeah, I'm so bad with pronunciation of some of these cards. It's a Denik Poyas. Poyas Apprentice. It is white and a blue for a 2/3 human soldier. There it is right there again. Human. They're doing a lot of human types in this set. It's got lifelink. Yeah, it's very true. Humans, demons, angels, and I guess werewolves are like the four
werewolves
biggest.
And vampires, yep. And zombies.
Yeah. Oh, and vampires and zombies. Man, there's so many. It's got everything. It's got everything you want from your classic gothic horror. All right. So Denik Poyas Apprentice is a mouthful, but it's also Azorius. White and a blue for a 2/3 legendary human soldier with lifelink. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities, and it has Disturb for 2 and Azorius. So you may cast this card from your graveyard transformed for its Disturbed cost, and it turns into Denik Poyas Apparition. It is still a blue and a white colored card. It is 2/3 with flying. It says whenever one or more creature cards are put into graveyards from anywhere, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn, and to investigate, you create a colorless clue artifact creature token with 2 generic mana and sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. If Denik Poyas Apparition would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead.
I like this one. This is
you
one.
Like this one?
I do like this one. So
yeah.
I feel it's. I like blue. I'm a blue player. What can I say? But I feel like the disturb cost is going to get around commander tax. I feel like it does get around commander tax.
It does get around commander tax, yes.
So
because you just bring it in, let it die, and then the state-based action would say, hey, do you want to put this in the command zone? You say, no, I don't want to put it in the command zone. It stays in there. You just pay it for its disturb cost. It comes out for 2.
Yep.
Well,
and it comes out as a 3/2 flyer, like that helps you draw cards. Like that's awesome. I don't know if he would be the commander, more or less, or if he would be, just like a support piece in another deck. But this definitely, I don't know, that I like these cool, weird mechanics like disturb. I really liked, and it reminds me of what was it, Embalm from Amonkhet?
Yep.
Where it was like you pay a cost and then you bring out like a token that's a zombie. I think that was really cool. So yeah, I mean, first of all, cutting off people from graveyard shenanigans. I don't know about your meta, but in ours, Eddie is a huge graveyard player. Like he loves messing with his graveyard. He loves pulling stuff out. He loves, reanimating things. So, stopping that immediately, pretty good. And then yeah, the backside ability, being able to investigate, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't know how you would do like whenever one or more creature cards are put into a graveyard from anywhere, investigate. I don't know how that is going to work really well with Azorius colors, but I mean, he could go, actually, he could go really well is in his Sephiroth, like the,
ooh, yeah.
You wanting to put cards into your graveyard. That's an Esper, so he wouldn't be the commander, he would be a support pice, but actually, I don't know, because his front piece stops it. I don't know. This is a weird one.
I was thinking more lines of Raynar, the Ever Watchful.
Okay.
Because in at least the way that I play my Raynar deck, it is can you guess? It's a little aristocratic. So I mean, Denick would say, it's going to say that you cannot play things from your graveyard, which is awesome because I don't want people to play with their graveyards anyway, because only I may play with my graveyards. And then its disturb cost is fine. And then whenever one or more creature cards are put in the graveyard from anywhere, investigate. That kind of gives me card draw in those colors. The way that I could do that to put creature cards in the graveyard would be to sacrifice the spirit to Ashnod's altar to float the mana to investigate and then crack it to draw a card. That'd be one way that I would do it. I'm all about like wanting to, sack off my spirits to do things as usual aristocrats players want to do, and eventually form some sort of thing to do with them if I don't pump them up just to kill everybody, to, assemble some sort of combo and, blasting station everyone down. The only part what was that?
I could see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and like the only part I don't like about Denick right now is the fact that once he leaves the battlefield, you can't put him back in the graveyard to then pull back out again for his disturb cost.
Yeah.
So because he gets exiled, if you have a way to cast him from exile, which I mean aren't really in these colors unless you're playing 4-color, not green, you could play, I don't know, things that care about, not care about, but like things that can cast things from exile. So you can cast him again for his side, for his front face, and then get him in the graveyard, and then disturb him back. But that seems like a lot of like hoops to jump through to get a 3/2 flyer on the battlefield that lets you draw cards through artifacts, through clue tokens. So I'm not sure where I sit on Denick right now. I think he's a lot better as the commander than a part of a 99 because of that. Like, it's kind of like a one-shot card for me.
Yeah.
Because once you get rid of him, he's gone. He gets exiled and you can't do anything with him. So I can see why they did it, because once you once obviously Denick dies, he becomes from an apprentice to an apparition, and then once you exercise the apparition, he can't really come back to being a regular flesh and blood human again. So,
well, wouldn't you just put him in your command zone, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like if he's a commander, yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. If he's in the 99,
yeah. But if he's part of the 99, he just goes away. He gets exiled and he's just gone forever. And you're like, bye, Denick. It was really fun hanging out for about 3 turns before someone got rid of him, because drawing cards is super powerful in Commander, and drawing cards in these 2 colors just gives you access to maybe more interaction than what people are willing to, deal with in the ways of counter spells and removal. So I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it. Again, if you've got a Denick deck, just hit us up, let us know. I'm super interested to see the direction which the community takes that commander. But let's move on now to our last card before the ad break. We have we have another Selesnya commander, and I'm going to let Corey take this one away.
All right, we got Catilda, Dawnheart Prime. It is a white and a green for a legendary creature, Human Warlock. It's a 1/1 with protection from werewolves. Human creatures you control have tap to add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. And then 4 white-green, or green-white, excuse me, and tap to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So I think this is a much better Humans Commander, and I think that's where you were going with earlier, what you were saying. We'll talk about it later. This is a much better Humans Commander than Sigarda is. The protection from werewolves thing, I guess, is good in this format. You know, if people are going to be playing, especially the Werewolf Commander that came out. But you know, having your humans be able to tap for mana and then having that ability to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature is bonkers. So a nice go wide human strategy here. This is a really good, and it's a low mana cost commander as well. You can get it out turn 2 most of the time. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Selesnya doing Selesnya things, really. I mean, it makes your human creatures tap for mana, and what's more important than tapping for mana? Nothing, really. Yeah. Because you need mana to cast bigger spells. And that's where I kind of sit on this one. I love that this commander has protection from werewolves. I wish it'd be like, if you were to add like 1 more generic mana, or maybe even 2, if this was a 2 and green and a white for a 1/1 that said humans you control have protection from werewolves, would that make it better or worse? Do you reckon?
I don't know if it would make it better. I still feel like you're going to be able to go so wide with this that like if you get enough creature tokens or like human tokens out, and your creature tokens are tapping for mana, and you're able to just put a bunch of +1/+1 counters out there. Like, I haven't done too much reading into what the werewolves of this set does or do rather, but I think you're going to be fine. If you can just get a bunch of beefy boys and girls out there, or people out there, then you're gonna be okay. I think.
What I really just thought of this is the start of a new like elf ball strategy that we haven't really seen before. This is human ball. Yeah. Because you put humans out to then tap for mana, and then to get more humans out to then snowball into more humans, and then your commander literally has the ability to put +1/+1 counters on everything, which is usually an elf mechanic, like a thing we see with Elf Ball a lot, with Azuri and Elvish Warcall or Warmaster, I think it is. So I mean, yeah, this just leads itself to play as many low drop humans as possible, keep getting more humans out by letting them tap for any color, and then pumping them almost indefinitely to win the game. So she's very on rails. I will say that there's probably not much really building around that you could do unless you find out something really interesting to do with maybe tapping and untapping shenanigans. But I can see this as very battle cruisery kind of mid, build up a huge human army and then buff them out the wazoo and then swing at your opponents.
Yep, I agree.
So I love it. I think it's great. I would probably play it. I'd probably either play it as the commander or maybe in the 99 of a different deck. What deck? I don't know yet.
I think this would be a commander. I think this would play as a commander for me.
Yeah, I don't, as I was saying that, I'm like, there is no way that this would not be a commander. It's too good to not be a commander, honestly, because if once they get rid of it, you kind of want that thing to be back again. So yeah, maybe just play your Sigarda Champion of Light inside your Catilda deck, and that'd be so much better than playing Sigarda as your commander.
100%.
But with that, we're going to pass through to our combat phase right now. And Corey, this is where I'm going to pump all of my creatures with Catilda, and I'm going to swing at you. How do you choose to block?
First of all, I'm going to say gross. Second of all, I'm not going to block. I'm just going to take it all.
Cool. All right. Well, that's one player out of the game. Just 2 more to go. And with that, we're going to go hear a message from our sponsors right now. Welcome back from that ad break. I hope that you were able to finish off the table with all of your humans that you pumped up with Catilda. Because, I mean, we definitely killed Corey. Ha ha ha. I can't believe you've done this. So we're going to move on to our main phase 2 here. I'm going to continue the conversation about all of the multicolored commanders in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. The next one we have is Carolus Stalwart Slayer. It is 1 red and a white for a 2/3 legendary human knight with flying and haste. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage. If a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1 instead.
What do you think about this? I want to hear your thoughts first.
This one. I like the fact that it is a low drop 2/3 with flying and haste, so you can play it turn 3. If you're playing on curve, turn 3 is really good. You get in for 2 damage because it's got two different forms of... It's got one form of evasion, and I guess haste isn't really evasion, but haste is still really good. It's well costed. I like that. I like the fact that if a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage, which means if you're going wide and swinging, which is what Boros wants to do, Blasphemous Act and the new, I believe it's called Banish the Horde, isn't going to kill your board, which means they're both in fantastic includes in this deck, unless your opponent, has a way to remove your commander before the spell resolves. In that case, you're kind of out of luck on that one. Yeah. But, I mean, only if they have, the right interaction at the right time is that going to be an issue. The fact that it makes burn spells better, it's such a weird commander, because it's like, here, have protection for going wide, but also have more damage on your burn spells. And, I mean, burn spells are fantastic. I love burn spells. I love playing burn. It was like one of the first archetypes I ever played in Magic, which was a mono-red burn deck. So I'm not exactly 100% like, this is a card you have to be playing. This is a commander deck that's going to break commander. But I mean, it's good mid-rangey. It's probably, if someone's getting new to the game, maybe giving them a go white strat with evasion and some burn spells in there would be pretty good. I mean, I could see it as being a decently fun little Boros deck to play against, or maybe even just pilot yourself.
Yeah, but like the thing I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around here is that like it's a Boros deck, but it doesn't do anything Boros does. Like, how are you going to go wide in Boros?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways you go wide in Boros. And now I'm drawing a blank on all the ways you can go wide in Boros. I mean, there's like Hallowed Spirit Keeper. I mean, if you fill your graveyard up, you're going to get 1/1 spirits for that. They're white.
Yep.
That's a thing. You've got Luminarch's Ascension that could possibly give you 4/4s. That goes a little bit wide, I guess. I mean, white used to be like the white weenies, It used to be like this. That was the go wide strat. Now that's green.
Yeah.
So what has white really got now besides like some of the best removal in the game and protection in the game, but no real things that make white white?
Yeah, this like this seems cool. Like this seems like a really interesting deck. Sorry, I'm trying to look up something as I'm like having these thoughts. But it's like, yeah, like it's a Boros commander that doesn't really do anything that like a typical Boros commander that we've seen does in a long time. Like you usually see Boros with equipment, or you see it with artifacts, or you see it with auras and enchantments. Whereas this really wants you to, it wants you to go wide, and it wants you to do a lot of burn spells. And like I just feel like what was the commander that was a buy box promo only? Flame Song or something like that.
Flame Song and Fire Speaker and Song Dance, I think.
That's what I'm trying to look up as I'm thinking of this. That's not it.
You've got Fire Song and Sun Speaker. It's 4 on Boros for a 4/6 Minotaur Cleric. Red instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Fire Song and Sun Speaker deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
Yeah, like I feel like that's just a better version of this. Besides the prevent damage thing, like that's cool. I would rather play Fire Song and Sunspeaker over this guy, though.
So I would go one better, and I would say I'd probably play this guy. I'd probably play Rem Carolus inside Fire Song and Sunspeaker.
Totally.
Because it gives you the protection that you're wanting for your board, so you can build up all these little tiny, Boros things, and kind of like, you could even go like a little Staxy with this if you wanted to, like Draneth Magistrate and stuff, which I'm not saying go Staxy with this commander at all, but I'm saying like if you wanted to, you could, and then you have a way to protect it with Rem, and your burn spells get a little bit better, which means you get to lifelink a little bit more off your red spells, and then because you gained life, you get to deal damage. So yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down, mate, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really liking it.
Put Rem in Fire Song or Flame Song, whatever it is.
Firesong, yeah. Put Rem in Firesong
closed.
and Sunspeaker, and you're done. You're good.
Case closed.
You're 100% good. Yeah, done. Case closed. Next one we have is a really cool commander, and I'm gonna let you fire that one off, my dude.
All right, this is another flip one here. We have Ludwig Necrogenesis, Necrogenius. He is a black and a blue for a legendary creature human wizard. He's a 2/3. Whenever Ludwig Necrogenius enters the battlefield or attacks, you mill a card. And then he has an ability for X blue blue black black. Exile X creature cards from your graveyard. Transform Ludwig. X can't be 0. Activate only as a sorcery. I see you're giving me all the books to read, James, and I don't appreciate this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. He then flips into Ulag, Ludwig's Hubris. Here we go. Just call me LeVar Burton because we're reading a story. As this creature transforms into Ulag, Ludwig's Hubris, it becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it. Except its name is Ulag, Ludwig's Hubris, it's 4/4, and it's a legendary blue and black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on Ulag equal to the number of creatures exiled with it, and it's a 4/4. Whew. This is an interesting one. This I feel like has been the most like dirtily one we've seen so far. Like you can really dirtle with this.
You definitely can. It's in Dimir, so I mean it's good in the colors that it's in. I just feel like we've seen this effect before on multiple commanders.
Yeah,
we've seen it on Lazav.
Scarab God.
Yeah, I mean there's Scarab God, Lazav Multifarious. He's one of the commanders that does that as well.
The other Lazav.
Mimeoplasm. I feel like this is just a worse Mimeoplasm. Like for standard, totally get it, but I mean for commander, you would just play Mimeoplasm and play this maybe in Mimeoplasm. I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm looking for a new Dimir commander to play, and maybe I'll end up putting something like this together. I usually do look at every single commander and kind of pick out the fun ones that I want to build decks around and upload those to the YouTube channel. So maybe this is one that I'm going to do because it cares about milling. It cares about doing graveyard shenanigans. It does everything that Dimir really wants to do, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely a Dimir card. It oozes Dimir flavor. And yeah, I mean, you could find some good creatures to really abuse with Ulag. To transform into, but I mean the issue here though is like once you transform, that's it. You're done. Like you've transformed into that, and then you just have to hope he dies so you can do it again.
Yeah, I mean you could always just. I mean you're in black, and I hate to keep saying aristocrats, but I mean there's a lot of free sack outlets you could do.
Oh yeah,
or even just like not a free sack outlet if you wanted to. God, what is that card? High Market.
Yep.
Just lets you get rid of this guy, gain a life, and put it back in the command zone. Pay 4 for it next time, and then transform it and get something out of your graveyard again. I love graveyard shenanigans, and I love that they're doing a lot more graveyard, graveyard matters cards, because I feel like it's a place that we want to be playing from in Commander as much as possible. Because I mean, it just becomes right now a fourth hand, because you've got your hand, you can play from the Foretell. You can play from Exile now, and now you can play from the graveyard. So, I mean, you've always been able to play from the graveyard, but now you have more access to the graveyard, and you have really cool ways of doing it.
Yeah, I'm just going to play Dennick, so cards in graveyards can't be targets of spells or abilities, so.
That's just super hateful. Why would you do that? That's such a meta choice. Like, here's my Ludwig deck. Hold on a second. Let me go get all of my graveyard hate.
Let me just get my graveyard hate deck out real quick.
And I think they're really pushing into graveyard shenanigans a lot more in maybe standard, which we're not here to talk about, but in Commander, because, I mean, how many decks do you really see in the wild that aren't a part of a, like, strategic meta that play graveyard hate for the sake of playing graveyard hate?
Yeah. Yep. There's not many.
So why not kind of like, I feel like they're strategically pushing us in this direction of being like, well, if they don't want to run graveyard hate, let's just abuse it until they realize that they got to run a lot of hate. And I mean, you've got green, so like you've got Scavenging Ooze in green. My favorite one besides Scavenging Ooze is Selesnya Eulogist, which came in the Gearhead Precon, which is in my Gearhead deck because it has everything I want Gearhead to do, as well as stapled on some hate. I mean, there's Silent Gravestone that came out of, I think it was Rivals of Ixalan. That's graveyard hate as well. You've got Dennick. I mean, go ham. Put
Yeah.
Graveyard Hate in your decks. So that when someone pulls out their Ludwig deck, they're not slapping down a Sheoldred after this, or they're not slapping down like a Sepulchral Primordial after this, or they're not slapping down the Aberration, Corrupting Aberration, I think that one's called. It's the really big Dimir creature that's its power is equal to the amount of creatures in your opponent's graveyards.
Yeah, it's something aberration. Yeah,
Consuming Aberration.
Consuming Aberration. Yep.
Yeah, because I used to play those cards in my Muldrotha mill deck.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, man. I mean, this one's pretty cool. I mean, if you really wanted to go like, okay, if you wanted to be like the absolute Jamesest player possible, if you wanted to play like I would play this card, I would look at that first line of text as whenever Ludwig enters the battlefield or attacks, mill a card. So you could literally just like, mill yourself, do the self-mill kind of thing with maybe, I don't know, what's her name? Muldrotha. I mean, if you had a graveyard to get a backer, or if you had this as your commander, there's ways to be able to play out of the graveyard, kind of just like infinite mill yourself, and then just like Labman for the win to draw a card, I guess, is one way you could do it.
You could do that. I mean, if you want to durdle around more, you can always just put a Conjurer's Closet in there, and bounce him, bring him back as Ludwig, and then...
and you have a decent amount of like blue... like flicker spells as well. Like you've got Ghostly Flicker is a good one. You can't, and you can even get it back with. Right there, straight in mono blue. You have a way to make things flicker in and out. You could like do the thing that does the stuff. You just make like Peregrine Drake, Ghostly Flicker, Archaeomancer, make infinite mana, and then you can just after that. Flicker out Ludwig and Archaeomancer with infinite mana with Ghostly Flicker, and just mill yourself out, and then play your Labman and draw a card and win the game. Your Jace, sorry.
So much. I hate that so much.
Welcome to the mind of James.
Everything you just said is my worst nightmare.
Now you see the kind of monster that Paul's turned me into. I was never like this when the podcast started. This is now how I am, and I take full flourish in the fact that I am a disgusting combo player, and everyone knows it.
You can be a combo player. That's fine. just like you're at like an 11. We need you to dial it back to like a 7.
Yeah, but this one goes to 11.
That's too much. That's too high.
Ludwig, definitely love this card. Now that I've been talking about it a little bit more, I'm gonna do something with this card. I think
he's already on you're already on Moxfield, just like typing it all up.
Yeah, man. Oh, we're not supposed to be doing that already. Oh man. Hold on, let me just close Moxfield real quick. Yeah, cool. Let's move on to the next one here. We have Vadric Astral Archmage. He is 1 blue and a red for a 1/2 human wizard that said if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Vadric Astral Archmage enters the battlefield. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X-less to cast, where X is Vadric's power. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadric. Now, I didn't explain this at the start of the podcast, and I didn't think I'd have to, but I guess I do. There's a new day-night cycle in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. I'm just trying to quickly bring up the day-night token card so I can explain to you kind of what it is. If you guys are audio only, we'll do the audio only thing. If you guys are visual, I'll probably throw it up on the screen for you guys so you can see it. So day is basically, as it becomes day, transform all nightbound permanents. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night on the next turn. And then night is, as it becomes night, transform all daybound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. Basically, it's an easier way to do the whole flippy, transformy, werewolfy thing.
I think it's a more flavorful way of doing it. I don't necessarily say it's easier.
Well, I mean, it's easier in the fact that you can cast cards transformed instead of having to like cast them for their have like some transformed, some not transformed. It's just kind of like a blanket effect of being like, it's night, everything comes in nightbound. Hell yeah. And as it becomes day, all your nightbound stuff becomes daybound. I mean, I like it flavor reasons, I love it rule reasons, and I love it simplicity reasons. The fact that it kind of just makes werewolves a little bit easier to deal with. And not deal with isn't like, getting rid of them, but like having to like play the mini game of which card am I flipping now?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so on the terms of Vadric and not the Day-Night cycle, he's a human wizard. He's a 1/2. He kind of, he's a human wizard that cares about werewolves in red and blue. I don't know how prevalent red and blue werewolves are in this deck, or in this set. I haven't quite looked at the set itself. I know I'm terrible content creator. I understand that. Just been a little busy. Sue me. Actually, don't sue me. Please don't. I mean, he gives +1/+1 counters when it becomes day. Can you like do anything to kind of like abuse that? Probably not. I don't really think there is a way to do it. And if there is, let me know.
There are humans. There are non-werewolves, I think, that care about night and day, if I'm remembering correctly. I just can't think exactly of them. And I could actually, you know what? I might be completely making this up.
Yeah, don't be lying to people. We've already done that twice tonight.
But there are certain cards like so you have like the I'm gonna butcher this name. The Cletus? Celestis. There we go. The Celestis Ledger artifact, if it's neither day or night, it becomes day as Celestis enters the battlefield. And then for 3 and tap, if it's night, it becomes day. Otherwise, it becomes night. So like you have cards that don't necessarily have to be vampires, but like care about, like can change the time of day if it's day or night. Or when they enter the battlefield, they'll turn it into a specific day or night time. I'm just kind of quickly like rifling through a lot of them to see if any of them have that keyword on here that's not a werewolf, but I mean, for me, this is, I feel like this would just be a really good, obviously spells matter deck because it cares about instant sorceries. But yeah, you do have to find a way to really abuse that change of day and night without really going too deep into werewolves. Cause yeah, there's not a lot of blue werewolves in here.
No, I was having a flick through as well, and there really isn't all that many. So maybe we're going to get some support later on, but that's kind of like here's a card that we might kind of help out later. And not really right now, which is kind of what we need. We need it right now. Like, put it in the set. Do it. Let it do its thing. Let me play with this card, damn it. Like, let me actually build a good deck around this and not just like, it's a janky Vadric Astral Archmage deck. Because, I mean, he has a really cool name, and I want to play it. I want to play it a lot. And, I mean, it's Izzet doing Izzet things. Playing spells. That's what Izzet does best. Do you maybe play this in a different Izzet Commander who cares about X spells? I mean,
I don't think so. I don't, because it's maybe such the day night thing is such a major part of this that it's not going to fit in any like X matter spell or like spell slinger deck unless you really tune it to be day and night matters.
Yeah, and I don't really figure out there's a way to do that currently.
Yeah, I mean, I've found a couple of creatures, like Brimstone Vandal. It's a devil that when it enters the battlefield, it becomes day. That's not a vampire, not a werewolf. There was one, it was a blue, I don't know if it was a zombie or a spirit. I just saw it, but I can't find it right now. But when it enters, it becomes day. So like there are creatures that aren't werewolves that will get you that day or night flip. But yeah, like right now, like this is an awesome commander. I think it's really good. But I think you're right. I don't think there's enough support in this day-night cycle to really, really, really take advantage of this. I feel like this was made more with limited right now in mind, where like, you want to play, green-red werewolves, but then splash in blue for something like this or something a little flashier. I don't know. That's a werewolf. So yeah, it's I don't know. This is a tough one because I want this to be good. I love Izzet decks. Izzet decks are my babies, and being able to cast spells for cheaper is one of my favorite things to do in this game. So I want this to be good. I just don't see enough non-werewolf day and night support in these colors to make this happen. Unless you how I feel about it. Yeah, unless you just dig real deep into red werewolves and then blue support.
That's a possibility.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but again, like if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, or maybe even a deck list that has Vadric at the helm, or what deck you guys play Vadric in, let us know on at CMDR@arms, or even let Corey know at Commander Crew on Twitter, because we definitely want to hear the community feedback on these cards.
Yeah, this is definitely a commander that I was very interested in when it was spoiled, and I would love to know. Like I'm on EDH Rec right now. And I'm just kind of, I'm rifling through. I want to see, oh God, I got to sneeze. Hold on. Oh god, this is so awkward. And now that I said something, it went away. Sorry.
That's staying in, by the way.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah, because like a lot of the like high synergy cards on EDH Rec are all so like the Celestis that's in here. A lot of these are just spell like high mana cost spells that don't do anything with day and night, and then the rest of these cards, top cards, again, all spells that are going to take advantage of the mana reduction, but there is no day and night cycle.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, the commander literally is just a 3 mana, reduce your X spells by 1 currently, unless you have a way to add more counters to him to make his power go up. And at that point, I feel like if you were to take away any of the day and night text on this card, it literally just says, it's got 2 lines of text. It's got the instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is Vadric's power. You would just play him Voltron for the fact of getting his power up and adding evasion to him, so that you could then just play big X spells for cheaper. And that just seems super generic. And I'm not going to say boring card design, but let's be honest, it's pretty boring card design, because it really only leads you in one direction, even though he has 2 different paragraphs of text that aren't even supported at the current time of recording.
I'm surprised that this wasn't an uncommon commander.
Yeah, as a rare commander, it kind of seems really strange.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, but I know we have a couple more commanders to get through before we call it for the week. So we'll move on to the next one now, and again, Corey, take this one away, my dude.
All right, we have I'm so bad at names. I'm so sorry. Slogurk, the Overslime. I think we got there. 1 blue and a green for a legendary creature. Ooze. 3/3 with trample. Whenever a land card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Slogurk, the Overslime. It's such a funny name. Remove 3 +1/+1 counters from Slogurk. Return it to its owner's hand. Whenever Slogurk leaves the battlefield, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. The amount of times it made me say Slogurk is obnoxious. I don't like
but Slogurk is such a cool name, because now I just want to call it Gogurk.
I do want to say Gogurt so bad. Oh, man. That's the altar for this, is just a box of Gogurt. Or just like a Gogurt tube with just the yogurt spilling out of it. Anyway. We
can talk about this later, because we're gonna have a Slogurk altar coming up.
All right, so lands matter. It cares about lands going into your graveyard. It can recur itself back to your hand, so it's got protection built in. That's really good. And then when it leaves the battlefield, you can return land cards from your graveyard to your hand. This is gonna somehow someone's gonna find some sort of crazy infinite combo with this, because like you said earlier, Simic's gonna do what Simic's gonna does.
Hey Corey,
yeah,
I have a crazy infinite combo with this card.
Oh my god, of course you do. Of course you do. Let's hear it. Share it to the people.
So it requires it's an infinite turns combo. You cast Walk the Aeons with buyback, sacrificing 3 islands. Slogurk will then trigger, adding 3 +1/+1 counters to him. You then remove the 3 counters. Remove the 3 +1/+1 counters from Slogurk, returning them to your hand. Slogurk triggers, returning 3 islands to your hand from the yard. You then enter your extra turn, play the 3 islands, play Slogurk, play Walk the Aeons with buyback, and repeat. So it does require a little bit more setting up, having ways of putting more than one land down per turn. But I mean, you've got there's lots of them actually. I mean, you've got what is it? Wayward Swordtooth, Exploration. You've got heaps of ways of adding extra lands, and like you said, it's a lands matter. You're gonna have these things in your lands matter deck. You could take infinite turns with Slogurk the Overslime if you choose so. Why not? Because
there you go,
that's
folks.
There it is right there. You heard it probably not first, but you definitely heard it from us.
Unbelievable.
Oh look, there's also a Phyrexian Altar Iola's Influence Slogurk line that you could do as well. I didn't come up with this one. This one's not mine. Wow, that's quite disgusting. So Phyrexian Altar is a 3 mana artifact. Suck creature, add 1 mana of any color to mana pool. Iola's Influence is a 3 green enchantment. It says discard a land, create a 2/2 green bear creature token, and then Slogurk. Obviously, we already read Slogurk. But if you discard 3 lands with Iola's Influence to create 3 2/2 tokens, You can then, Slowgoke's ability will trigger to put 3 possible encounters on him. You then remove those counters and return it to your hand. Sacrifice the tokens to add 1 green and a blue to cast Slowgoke and return 3 lands from your hand. Sorry, from the graveyard to your hand. Repeat the process for infinite enter the battlefield effects. Wow.
Wow.
I hate it. Wow. I hate it.
It's Simic.
It's Simic lands. I mean, you're going to do what Simic lands wants to do. And I feel like we already have really good Simic lands commanders. Because, I mean, that's what Simic does best. Is they mess with your lands. They do things with lands. And that's what this card does. And I don't really see it going in any of my decks. Maybe a Tulane deck would want this. Possibly, if you were to play like a slow Tulane deck that cares about lands, because I mean, I've seen them before, and I know all of the listeners and viewers are probably very sick of me talking about my Tulane deck as much as possible, so I'm going to stay away from it, but I mean, if you wanted to, it's definitely there. But I mean, it's Simic doing Simic things outside of drawing cards.
Yep.
It's worrying about lands. And we already have so many commanders that do lands. We have Tatiova, Benthic Druid. We have Iac of Gaia Straits. I was going to say Coma, but that doesn't really care about lands that much. We have Thrasios, who cares about lands or drawing cards and doing land things. We have Gretchen, which is just the standard downplayed version of Thrasios. So, I mean, yeah.
They have like Titania and like things that care. Wait, is it Titania that cares about lands going into the graveyard?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, there's just ways to abuse it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty medium on this card. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little how you going. I'm not the greatest about it. I mean,
yeah.
If you want to play lands, go for it. I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. Honestly, I'm just giving my honest personal opinion on Slowgoke the Overslime. But I mean, if you do end up taking infinite turns with this one, I definitely want to know, because that is the coolest thing ever. We all know how powerful extra turns are, don't we, Corey?
Oh yeah. Love extra turns.
So unfortunately, guess what?
We're out of time.
No, we're not out of time. No, we still got a couple cards to talk about.
Oh, all right.
I get a novel to talk about.
Hey, sweet.
So it's about time that I got a novel, because everyone loves to hear me listen
Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Sorry.
That's all good. We have
I hate doing episodes with you. I have to edit so much.
You know what? It's comedic banter. The people love it. So, the next one we have is a Golgari Commander. It is Old Stick Fingers. It is X green and a black and a green for a star legendary creature horror that says when you cast this spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Old Stick Fingers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. The first thing I thought of when I saw this card was I like rusty spoons.
Salad fingers?
Salad fingers.
Salad fingers.
This is the first thing I could think of when I saw this card was salad fingers.
My spoon. Its name's Randy, or whatever it is. I don't remember.
We're here to talk about Magic. You and I can make jokes literally all night about it. Old Stick Fingers doing Golgari things, putting things in graveyards.
Real good Golgari things.
Yeah, having creatures equal their power of things in the graveyard.
Yeah,
there's not much really to say about this one, honestly.
No, I think this is going to be a big support piece in other decks. I think like Marin, this will go into real well. This is going to fit really well into Muldrotha. Like the second I read this,
1,000%.
Yeah, the second I read this card, I was like, this is a Muldrotha staple. Like, because it's going to get your Muldrotha's graveyard should always be full, and this guy's going to be super big all the time, and it's just going to give you stuff to grab back with Muldrotha. So this, I mean, if you want this to be your commander and you want to do some reanimate shenanigans, I think it's fine. But I think this is meant to really, really set those other guys into like overdrive.
Yeah. And that's about all I really have to say about it as well. I mean, you nailed it on you hit the nail on the head. I have nothing else to say about old stick fingers besides I like rusty spoons.
Though I do gotta say, we're on, what site are we on? We're on Mythic Spoilers.
We are on mythicspoilers.com.
I gotta say, the first comment, I don't know if you can see it or if it's the same for you, but the first comment here says, wouldn't have been too much of a stretch to give this the Scarecrow creature type. And I 100% agree.
I also 100% agree, because the artwork even looks like a Scarecrow.
Yep.
I mean, maybe it's I don't know. It's like a horror thing. I hate using the type to refer to the card, but I mean, it looks like a horror kind of wearing what looks to be like an owlbear's head, maybe.
Yeah, this is a pretty common like eldritch horror creature, and like what's it? Oh my god, what's that streaming? Shudder has a streaming service, or the streaming service Shudder, excuse me. There's a series about this like wood creature that kills people, and it's identical to this guy. So like I totally get why it's not a Scarecrow. But anyway, yeah, that's another conversation.
You need to tell me about that after, because I want to watch that. All right, let's. I mean, I have nothing else to say about old stick fingers.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next one. And unfortunately, I've given you another flip card, Corey.
That's fine. This is one we've done a quick take on. Or I did a quick take on, so I'm pretty familiar with it. We have Tovlor. Here we go. Dire Overlord. 1 green red for legendary creature. Human werewolf, a 3/3. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. That's cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves, it becomes night. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control. That's cool. And then it says daybound. So meaning when he comes into play, it's going to become day, I believe, right? Is that how we decided that's how that works?
I'm pretty sure that's how that. No. So if it's day, he'll come out day, but if it's night, he'll come out nightbound.
So if it's nighttime, he's going to come out as the werewolf?
Yes.
Really?
I believe that's how that works. I could be extremely wrong, and I don't want to do this to the people, but I'm going to have to quickly just Google day-night cycle. So I have it. Because I wasn't expecting to talk about day-night cycle in Magic, because
if it becomes day or night, or if a day-bound permanent enters the battlefield, track day-night for the rest of the game. As it becomes day, transform all night-bound permanents. If a player casts no... Okay, whatever. As it becomes night, transform all nightbound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day. It becomes day next turn. That's confusing as permanents enter the battlefield nightbound.
Yeah, so it says that like if it's currently night during your turn, you would pay the 3 mana and you would come out as Tovlor the Midnight Scourge. Which
interesting.
I'll give you a chance to read that.
Okay.
To the lovelies.
Sorry. I was just, got confused by this whole day-night thing. Anyway, so Tovlor, the Midnight Scourge, he is the flip side of Tovlor, Dire Overlord. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Same thing. X, red-green, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X, +0, and gains trample till end of turn, and then nightbound. So the typical, if you cast no spells or 2 spells or whatever it is, you flip them. But so yeah, it's this is the clear werewolf tribal commander we've all been waiting for. It cares about you having werewolves and hitting with them to draw cards. It cares about having a certain number of them so you can flip Tovlor into his werewolf side, and then his werewolf side gets you individual Kessig Wolf runs, which is really cool. So. This is great. This is a great werewolf commander I think we've all been waiting for.
I love this card. I love this card a lot. I don't think you understand how much I love this card. The fact that it keeps the text from both sides doesn't feel like there's a downside to this card whatsoever. I mean, you lose the at the beginning of the upkeep if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves. And I love the fact that it's wolves or werewolves.
Yep.
Means you can incorporate so many different wolves and you can finally run them in a deck, and then you can add the new werewolves into it as well. And chef's kiss to you guys, Wizards, because you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it with this commander. Oh my god, I'm so hyped for this commander. I want to pull this one so bad, and I want to build it so bad. So yeah, the fact that it gives you the Kessig Wolf runs on the flip side of this card, and like this card is the reason I do like the new day-night cycle, because it's easy to flip things around if you need them to be flipped. And It's just, oh my god, it's so mind-boggling how good this card is as a commander for Werewolf Tribal or Wolf Tribal. Been looking at Wolf Tribal myself for so long now.
Yeah.
And we finally got it. And I mean, X green and red for target wolf you control gains +X+0 and gains trample till end of turn is it's quite damn good, because you can put it on itself and then you can just swing in for commander damage if you wanted to, or you could go wide, or you could put Xenagos, the God of Revels, in this deck and just get, you know, a butt ton of damage on one creature and get it through, because it's got trample and now it's got haste and it's got +billion. My god, I'm super hyped. I love the fact that it draws you cards for making things deal damage, because you can just double up on that effect with Aura and Frostfang if you really wanted to. And then give all your werewolves freaking Death Touch. Oh my god, Death Touch, and draw 2 cards.
And you can triple it up with Toski.
Oh my god, don't even.
You need a couple minutes, man? You want me to leave you alone?
No, I'm good. I swear I'm good. I love this card so much. And I think out of all of the cards we've talked about tonight, and I say tonight because we are recording this at currently midnight. So out of all the cards we've talked about today on the episode, this is probably the one I'm most hyped for. And I believe the rest of the community is also really hyped for as well. So because the set's been out for a little bit, I understand probably people have already seen this one and probably already know, like, yeah, James, we already know everything about this card. Doesn't matter what you're going to do, but you can't tell us anything new with this card. And I understand that. And I feel that in my soul. But I have to express to the world how excited I am to finally have Werewolf Tribal.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot more of this tribe, I think, in the near future from games and players. So I'm excited to see how they look.
Yeah, and so am I. And we're going to move now to our last card for the episode. And it's a character I didn't think I would see in a standard set, considering she came out, I believe, for the first time in Commander Legends, and did something very similar to what she did in Commander Legends, and that's Lisa, Forgotten Archangel. She is 2 white, and a black for a 4/5 legendary creature angel with lifelink and flying. That says whenever another non-token creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead.
Angels doing angel things.
Yeah, angels doing angel things. I guess the flicker is really nice, and the graveyard shenanigans and the graveyard hate on the bottom half of her is also really good too, because I mean, it doesn't affect you at all, but it affects your opponents a lot. I was thinking about this card for my Taste of Karlov deck, but it doesn't really work the way that I want it to, because I want my opponent's creatures to die as well. Because you have to exile it, you kind of lose it, and you know, it's a little how you going in that aspect. But I mean, as a commander, this is a very good creature stacksy kind of play, which I mean, the original Lisa from Commander Legends also saw a lot of play that way as well. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty medium. She's not as good as Tovlor, not gonna lie. Like him better, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is like an interesting aristocrats, but like non-token aristocrats deck. I don't know. If you build it specifically to just take advantage of aristocrats with, you know, non-token creatures, I think you could have an interesting build. But honestly, I see this slotting in other, like, you know, odd angel builds, or, you know, this slots well in what's the Mardu lady who poops out angels, demons, and dragons.
Oh my god, you've just put me on the spot, and I know the card because she got reprinted in Double Masters.
Yep. It begins with a K.
Oh, and it's got a double A in it, and
Kalia.
I swear to God, Kalia. We
got there.
I'm usually a lot better with the card names when I'm not recording at midnight, but
it's all good, man. It's all good.
We'll give ourselves a faux pas day, you know, pass on this one.
It's all good, man. Yeah, like this I feel like just slots well in those decks. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Yeah, I agree. It's medium. It's a cool angel with lifelink. This is, you know, again, to me, not going to be a commander. This would just slot into something else. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I don't want to leave us on a bit of a low kind of medium note. So,
yeah, we almost forgot one.
I did see you just shared one with me. And,
I did.
I forgot these were even a thing, not going to lie. But because you shared it with me, why don't you go ahead and read off this commander?
Yeah, this wasn't on the spoiler sheet for some reason. But the last one we're going to talk about here, and this is one I'm going to be building on stream tomorrow. I'm very excited about. Lind Cheerful Tormentor. It's 1 blue, black, and red for legendary creature, human warlock with Death Touch. She's a 2/4. And then whenever a curse is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return it to the battlefield attached to you at the beginning of the next end step. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may attach a curse attached to you to one of your opponents. If you do, draw 2 cards. Holy crap, that's cool. And curses matter. We actually have a curses matter commander that we can abuse and have fun with. The art on this card is insane. I don't know if you like put the cards up on your video version of this, but like she's poking a voodoo doll of the dude who's in all the like new curse cards that we've been getting.
Cursed guy.
Which is really cool. There's like a spooky ghost in a mirror behind her, which is super cool. There's another voodoo doll. Like this, the art on this is scary, and her neck is bent in a weird way, but still, it's really cool. I love the art in this card.
She's like staring at you, kind of like, you've entered my chamber and you've disturbed me from doing my voodoo warlocky things, and it's just like, my God. The little doll of Cursed Guy was the first thing I noticed in this art, and then you were like, yo, there's a spirit in the mirror, and I was like, there's a spirit in the mirror?
Yeah,
and I went back and I was like, whoa, that's creepy.
It's so creepy. Like, I wonder if that girl's in the room with her and that's the reflection, or if that's a ghost in the mirror. I don't know, whatever. That's an art theory discussion for another day.
That is definitely.
But yeah, like being able to abuse curses, I think is super fun. And we haven't seen like, I know people did like Marchesa as a curse deck before, but I think having like a dedicated curse commander in Grixis is going to be super fun to build around. And I'm going to be taking apart my Obeka deck to put this one together, so I'm super psyched to have some sort of dirtily cursed deck and figure out how that's going to work. So. Shameless plug. I'm sorry, but if you want to check out that stream tomorrow night, I'll be doing this build for this. So
go for it. I don't know if this episode's going to be up before you stream.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. So at this point, it's already happened. So go back and watch the VOD on twitch.tv/the Commander Crew.
There you go. That's it. There it is. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of a slower turnaround than you do on your videos there.
Mosquito, die. Killed it.
Yeah, talking about Lind, I mean, everyone was like, oh, Grixis isn't the right colors for curses, but I mean, it's the perfect colors for curses.
Is it not? What makes it not the perfect colors for curses?
I don't know. People were like, I don't feel like Grixis is good color combinations for curses, but if you look at them, most of your curses are in these colors, and we just got a new one in these. I guess they're in the commander decks, or they're part of like the specialty commander cards. It's only printed in collector's boosters or something, or whatever product they were trying to sell with these cards. Curse of Unbinding is a really good card to put in this deck, and it's one that came out after I finished building my version of Lind, but Curse of Unbinding goes in this deck really well. It is 6 and a blue for an enchantment curse aura curse. Enchant player, at the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest of the revealed cards into their graveyard. For 7 mana, this is a damn card. Oofed. I love this card. I love this commander. Again, not colors that I build all that often. But I mean, you were saying that you played Rakdos if you splash another color, and here we are splashing your favorite color.
Blue, baby. I love it. I love it.
So yeah, definitely go and check out the VOD, and I will also have my own version of Lind coming out on the YouTube channels as soon as I humanly possibly can. And with that, we're going to pass through to our end step now. And we're going to do the end step cleanup phase. And if you want to continue the conversation, or you want to, send us some stuff, do that at Twitter or Instagram at CMDR@arms. Because I definitely want to see all of your deck lists, your deck builds for the commanders that we talked about tonight. If you want to check out any of our videos, you can do that at Commander@arms on YouTube. We put the deck text up there, as well as the podcast goes up there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and comment, because it definitely helps with the algorithm. If you want to buy cards online supporting local game stores and getting them shipped directly to your house, you can do that through our affiliate link at tcgplayer.com/commander-at-arms. We also have our brand new Commander at Arms t-shirt. If you want to rock the Commander at Arms logo across your chest on a super soft Bella canvas shirt, you totally can. I live in Florida, and the Bella canvases are the most comfortable shirt that I have possibly worn. They breathe really easy, and I love them. So go and check that out in the Etsy link below. That will take you to our Bad Fred Designs page. Go check out everything else on there as well. Have some really cool Magic the Gathering nerdy stuff, which is awesome. If you want to support our show directly, you can do that at patreon.com/commander-at-arms. We have 3 tiers in there. All access, or everyone gets access to the Discord channel, but you get some special little adages if you are a patron. And I want to, again, Corey, thank you for coming onto the show and filling in for Paul. I know he appreciates it. I always appreciate it. I love hanging out with you, buddy. We always seem to crack so many jokes, make so many references that we're just, I don't know how we weren't best friends before.
I don't know, man, but I'm glad we're friends now.
Definitely. And so just go ahead and tell all of our listeners where they can find you on the internet.
Yeah, so you can find us, thecommandercrew.com. That will link you to all of our stuff. So you can get our YouTube, you can get our Twitch. All those links are in there. But yeah, mainly we're a YouTube channel. So youtube.com/thecommandercrew. We do videos a couple times a week. I'm working on a gameplay video we did a couple weeks ago with Justin Parnell from Commander Versus. So that should be coming out hopefully, if not tomorrow, the day after. It would have come out by the time you're hearing this at this point. So make sure to check that out if you're into like live gameplay videos. And then, we stream every Sunday, usually at between 8 and 9 p.m. We'll do a couple of Commander games. But also during the week, I do a bonus stream where we either do a live deck build like we're doing this week, or if I can get enough people, maybe we'll do a couple of bonus games. So that can be found at twitch.tv/thecommandercrew.
And if you ever need a fourth for any of those games, hit me up.
Yeah,
I'm always around.
Yeah, man, definitely.
If I'm not doing something, I'm always around. I'm so down to play.
Yeah, we've been getting some crazy guests lately. Like Justin Parnell was a guest, like I said. Lewis Stardust, who is an alt model. I think she used to be a former Suicide Girl. We have her coming on October 3rd. We have Alan from Mental Misplay coming on October 10th. So we have a crazy roster of guests coming up. It all started with just, a couple of buddies hanging out and playing. And then, we got you and our buddy Kevin from GMGC. And we're just, we're going crazy and we're playing as much Commander as we can. And it all started with us and you guys. And honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at without you, without Kevin, without all the people who helped us and played games with us early on. You're definitely always invited to games. You're always invited to anything we do. So, appreciate you, man.
And vice versa, mate. That's the thing is, whenever I get there's a spot that I need someone on, it's like, hey, I'm going to hit Corey up. I'm going to hit Kevin up because you guys are fantastic. And I love the little community we've kind of built together of content creators pushing out the best possible content for everyone's eyes and their ears. And with that, I'm James.
I'm Corey.
And you've been listening to the newest episode of the Commander at Arms podcast.
Peace.
See ya.